How's it going, everybody? Is the Joe Little Fox here? It's my channel where I talk about anime, video games, cartoons, most notably Sonic and Ninja Turtles. And today I'm doing a chill live stream. You know what time it is. If anyone wants to jump in, well, not jump in, but jump in the chat, I'll pretty much appreciate it. But I'm not gonna really do too much tonight. Well, I might do a little bit, a little bit much. It's always me, so I'm always doing something. But I just wanted to talk about a few things. I got a request from Ashes that he wanted me to talk about. If you guys remember, Day Day Does, she was the girl that did the debunking of the Naruto Hinata ship, and also the Sasuke and Sakura ship and stuff. And I kind of had a lot of disagreements with some of the stuff that she had said. So I did a stream talking about those like individually. So yeah, they definitely got a lot of views. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, so I'm gonna react to another one of her videos because Ash just referred to me to it, called Zutara or whatever. So this should definitely be interesting. I'll check that out in a second. But yeah, I haven't actually watched the video, so I can't really. I don't have a major in-depth opinion, or I don't have like a script or anything. So this would be like me kind of going in blind. You know what I mean? And then I might talk about some other stuff. Like I might talk about the Mortal Kombat 2 trailer. I definitely want to talk a little bit about Boruto and stuff, Two Blue Vortex. Um, yeah, because I just read the chapter the other night. Might just talk about some stuff. And of course, as you can see, post Superman 2025 stuff, all that stuff. Greetings, my good hotman. What's happening, Ashes? Welcome to the stream. And yeah, I got the reference. But yeah, yep. So my day's been all right. Going pretty good and stuff. It's Saturday. Um, I kind of undid my hair last night, so it was kind of like really, really frizzy and stuff like that. And then today I went to the gym while I was, taking out and stuff. My gym trainer was like, "Oh, I like the hair. I like the new hairstyle." Yeah. And then after I got done with the gym and stuff, the lady that's usually used to braiding my hair and stuff, she was like available and stuff early. So I was like, oh, cool. So I can go to her real quick. So yeah. So she basically did my hair. This is what it looks like. Konnichiwa, what's happening to you? Tiki Tiki Toby. Yep. This is my hair. Yep, pretty nice. She did a pretty good job. All it's up to me to just take better care of it though. And she was like, "Man, you got some thick hair because I always got thick hair and stuff. It's like really hard to like really like to like pick out my hair and stuff. What's happening, Bride? How you doing tonight?" So we're definitely gonna have a good time. First, I'm gonna do this Avatar video that Ash is here wanted me to talk about and stuff. So I was like, well, why not? And then we could definitely get into some of the Superman stuff and all that eventually, and just talk about other things, that I have lined up. And it's definitely gonna be a long night. So let's get right into it. And as you know, I'm doing this from my computer, so there's definitely bound to be a lot of botting. I'm probably gonna get kicked out of my own stream. You know how it is. So yeah. So, but we're just gonna power on through it as usual. A lot of ignorance is going around with super ignorance. There we go. All right. Let's see what this girl is on. All right, I am back. Sorry about that, guys. You know how this goes. That's why I don't like to stream on my computer for right now. I am back. Sorry about that, guys. You know how this. All right, let's get back to this. Yeah, I saw the comments. Yes, I have watched Jurassic Park Rebirth. It's a pretty good movie. I'm not gonna lie. Kind of a little standard, basic movie. It's not bad. Honestly, I don't have nothing against it. I don't get the one I hate though, but it's probably because you got to do your Superman stands and the Fantastic Four crowd and all that. So I don't know. Maybe it could have something to do with that. But I mean, me and my family, we all saw it. We thought it was pretty, decent and stuff. And I've never really seen Jurassic Park like that. So this is actually pretty interesting. Remind me of like Skull Island, which is my favorite dinosaur. I don't really have a specific favorite dinosaur, but I guess a Triceratops might come to mind. I know that's a little bit random in a straightforward answer, but yeah, I might say a Triceratops, I guess, for right now, or a Brontosaurus or whatever. Honestly, I think Zutara would have killed season three if it becoming canon. Okay, I'm back. Would I consider a Triceratops to be a reptile version of a rhinoceros? I mean, that's kind of basically what it is. It might be like an ancestor or something of a rhinoceros. What is my yeah? All right, yeah, I answered that. All right, let's get back to the video.
Are the superior love story. Be mindful that there have been videos made by amazing people in the past with fantastic arguments. Currently look at the screen and link them in the description box below so you can look at these and just listen to these more detail-oriented arguments that are so much more than what I'm going to say here. Regardless,
Yeah, I guess
my two cents will basically
reality
speak
part,
about
but
why
it's
I
like
personally find Zutara
that
compelling
was never set up.
over the canon couples and address a couple of stupid arguments
Well, boy, all right, back in action.
I like it and continue about my business. And then the algorithm bombards me with people talking with you because why waste time getting heated over something minor? It also helps that I'm a laid back person and I'm very slow to anger as well. Usually I keep strong opinions to myself over and over again, writing them down, researching, clarifying, just so I know that I'm not crazy. Eventually, water does reach a boiling point and my lid pops off. And that is kind of what happened several weeks ago. So here I am defending Zutara because despite what some people think, definitely something that almost happened according to several show writers.
They joked about it before this. Yo, what's happening to SSJ Namikaze? Hang on. What's happening? Just doing a quick little live stream. Well, not quick, but as you can see in the title, I have a lot of things that I kind of just want to just talk about. So this could probably go on until possibly midnight for all I know. But I'm going to knock all this out. As you can see, I'm reacting to this video or like listening to this video that one of my subscribers, Ashes from the Top, was recommending me. So I was like, okay, well, I'll check it out and give my thoughts. Hmm.
Is it my fault that Dante always seemed to sneer or mock when Zutara is mentioned? No. And neither is it when someone likes, I'm not trying to be a bitch. So while I personally feel like the endgame pairings of Katang and Maiko does such a disservice for Katara and Zuko, I'm not.
Hey, I know this should be popping up right about now. There we go. Buffalo butt. Hang on. Has been going back and forth with me on YouTube. Yeah, I saw in the comments and stuff. Um, yeah, I know nerd culture got to chill with like especially with tagging you and stuff. I'm like, come on. Yeah, like it's like over, bro. You know what I mean? Besides that, I'm okay. That's nice. The thing is, I'm irritated about Zutara shippers is them extremely underwhelming Aang as a character. I mean, undermining Aang as a character to a level of a toddler. Like, to be fair, he's more mature character to group besides Suki. Yeah, he is. He's like 112. No, I'm just kidding. But you know what I mean. I don't even know how to pronounce all that, but it's my favorite dinosaur. That's pretty cool. But yeah, let's hear out what you got to say though. Should be interesting.
I'm not going to speak on why, though I will link
visual.
good alternative videos and articles. So definitely check them out in the description box below because there is definitely good material here. I will be honest, I knew since I first started to watch Avatar The Last Airbender that Katara and Aang were endgame because the writers made it so.
Well, I mean, like, duh. Of course, they're going to be like Aang. I mean, the first like introduction to Aang is when like Aang gazes into like Katara's eyes and is like, "Would you go penguin sliding with me?" And all, yeah. I mean, clearly, and then clearly, the other episodes in the first season, which I have Avatar: The Last Airbender, like the entire series on the box set. I haven't watched it in a while because, well, it's been a while. Um, and I've been kind of somewhat distancing myself a little bit from Avatar, but I mean, I still know a lot about the lore though and the characters. But anyways, um, yeah, I mean, definitely during the first season there was a lot of things that alluded to, of course, Aang and Katara being into each other. Like for example, what was it, the third episode in the series? Well, apart from the two-parter or whatever, when they went to Kyoshi Island, wasn't Katara not getting jealous of like Aang, who was like flirting with all the, or no, that was the fourth episode, my bad, when he was flirting with all the girls and stuff like that in Kyoshi Island. Like, okay, okay. I mean, yeah, it's pretty obvious.
So obvious, will you go penguin sledding with me? Is such a will you marry me type question. And Aang's crush is like insta. It's insta love. Some would call it fate, soulmates. I call it
love
obvious
at first sight or puppy love, I guess, whichever you want to call it.
writing. As such, I didn't really
Jesus, I did not check the runtime.
watch
Well,
Avatar: The
it's
Last
long. But no, I
Airbender for Zutara, though I recognize lead, not just
really say like that's like a whole like oh that's an obvious moment. It's just like yeah, but again, me talking.
more nuance. And I had only seen season one Zuko so far, mind you. But regardless, I respect canon material until it disrespects me. And thus, new season one Zuko is it actually going to become canon in the story? It's harmless.
If you're a web designer, here are four Wix.
I remember like the first time I heard about it was like when the I'm not sure if it's playing like that. Hang on. There we go. Uh, I know I read this, but I'm just going to show it anyways. And what's this from Ashes? I mean, Aang fully realized his crush on Katara like only halfway through season one. He treated her as a best friend before that. Something like that. I mean, yeah, I don't have a huge opinion about it.
sides of the world with similar struggle, it was still able to bring these two characters together in such a natural and seamless way, be it friendship, enemies, or more. What I specifically love about Zutara is the character chemistry. Every time these two characters are on screen. Now, don't get me wrong, season one had them interacting as enemies, and rightly so.
Well,
But there's a
there's a
funny
whole
level of
duality
care
thing
and
going on. I mean, because for like season one with Katara, like Katara wasn't really like that powerful. Like she had potential and stuff, obviously, and obviously thanks to her improvisation or whatever, and the water scrolls and stuff, she's gotten better until she met Master Paku and all that, and Paku decided to train Katara, and Katara had like what a week or so that she's been training with Paku, and then she became like a waterbending master and all that stuff, and then like like after all that build up and stuff, she's able to at least even take on Zuko, which before Katara was always like the damsel in distress or constantly getting captured or overpowered by like Zuko and his men, that kind of thing. So like those two going back at it, they're like like they're both on equal footing and stuff. Like um, it just depends on like who has the advantage because like Katara, when the full moon is out, she's got the advantage, but when Zuko got the sun out, he's got the advantage. So it's kind of like that with the power scaling inside Avatar: The Last Airbender and stuff in season one. But Zuko, yeah. What was I gonna say? Whatever. But yeah, but it's more of a rivalry and a duality kind of thing though between them.
Zuko, especially exhibits towards Katara. Now, be mindful, I'm looking at this purely through the lens of them as individual characters and how they interact with each other as people from the little that they know of each other. I'm not looking at their friendship or romantic potential. We don't get there until season 3. When I say that Zuko shows care towards Katara, or as much care as he's capable of considering he doesn't know her and she's the enemy helping the Avatar, I mean, when he captures...
Well, I mean, the thing is about Zuko is that like Zuko even in season one, Zuko wasn't really a monster, or he wasn't like like oh sick in the head or whatever. Yeah, he was obsessed, or he had an obsession with wanting to capture Aang because he wanted to redeem himself in the eyes of his dad and in his nations and stuff because he felt like he kind of disrespected his dad and stuff, and all he ever wanted was his approval. But he's never really like wanted to hurt people unless they were really in his way or because of his hot temper. But yeah, nah. But Azula definitely proves, if anything, that like when Azula took over Zuko's role inside season two. Oh yeah, Azula was definitely like yeah, a more ruthless, cutthroat Zuko with no morals. She had no problem sacrificing people and stuff like that, treating people like pawns. Yeah, no, Zuko. I mean, at least with him, back in like season one, like when he was presented the opportunity, like a couple of opportunities between either choosing to capture Aang and stuff, or save Iroh, or save his men over capturing Aang and stuff, he chose obviously the latter of saving his men first, or putting his men first before the Avatar, or his uncle before again the Avatar and stuff. Because he's not a messed up person like that. But Azula definitely is, though. Yeah, she is definitely like that. She will work people to the bone and everything. I wouldn't be surprised if a certain someone made a video on why Avatar sucks. Yeah, he'd be like, man, Avatar, Avatar lad. I'm like, man, you about and I think today is actually the 17th anniversary even too of Avatar: The Last Airbender since the finale. So that's crazy. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, I think I saw a post on that earlier on YouTube. I found it really funny after rewatching that Sokka was the biggest Katang shipper. Even the first episode, he teased Katara about going to save her boyfriend. Yeah, yeah, that's a little brother sister dynamic and stuff. I'm pretty sure I would do that to my own sister too. I'm like, oh, aren't you gonna save your boyfriend or something? Yeah, I don't know, but what was I gonna say? Something about yeah. I mean, I think you might even have a much more bigger point, Ashes, when if you think of like the comics, because after the after that after they defeated Ozai and stuff, you know how like in the end when Aang and Katara like kiss and everything, they do the little continuation in the comics and stuff where Sokka walks in on them. He's like, ew, ew. Like Sokka was not expecting anything. He was like, and then him and Katara get into an argument, and then Aang is like, he's like, oh, hold on, Katara, let's hear out Aang. What's up? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he was so chill with him. So yeah, that was hilarious. Anyways, I love Toph. Definitely will rewatch the series this weekend. Dang, that's pretty nice. Yeah, Toph was definitely a really good addition to the team and stuff. Like, yeah, she definitely fit in like a glove. They were really good at stuff like that back then when introducing like characters.
Katara during the pirate episode,
Yeah,
he
Toph
doesn't
right.
harm her, torture her.
Just he was honorable, definitely. But everyone else, like Zhao, Azula, Ozai, oh no, they're terrible people. They will do whatever it takes.
Even block out her mouth because Katara still shows her spirited verbal side, which he doesn't let or any other Fire Nation soldier. They would have been much rougher in their treatment of Katara, probably chaining her.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I said, and plus Zuko is like what 16 in the start of the series, so he's still a teenager anyways, and he's got a small crew, and he's with his uncle who is like kind of his advisor. So it's like yeah, so they kind of keep him on the straight and narrow. But everyone else though, yeah, like Azula, she's spoiled and she's yeah crazy. And Zhao, he's a military general and all that stuff, or he was what? Well, he became General Zhao or whatever, but he was something before that, a lieutenant or something like that. But yeah,
her up and locking her away so she can't use her bending, and even probably using her as like a bait, so that Aang could like come towards them so they could try to capture him.
I wouldn't say Sokka had a harem though. It was pretty hypocritical of Sokka judging Aang Katara while he basically had a harem if we consider Ty Lee a joke option. I wouldn't say he had a harem. Harem is like where all these girls are really all over you and you're like all for it. Sokka, I mean, he was always with Suki. I mean, originally, well, it was Suki, UA, and then back with Suki and all that stuff. But I mean, Sokka, he was a chick magnet though. I mean, he had like UA, Suki, Toph had a bit of a crush on Sokka, Ty Lee, Um, yeah, like yeah, Sokka, he like yeah, the girls like him. They like funny guys.
This opportunity for escape would not have been so easily garnered with anyone but Zuko. Like, he didn't have to be so PG. Not to mention, Zuko also recognized Katara's neck teaser. She's wearing her polar furs, so he really can't see her necklace or her neck. You know, it's kind of slim viewing down there. And when he
Well, I mean, to be fair, I mean, she is water tribe, and mostly throughout like season 1 and 2, they've been mostly like going in between either the Earth Nation or the Fire Nation colonies and stuff, or like just random, like rather than like they've been outside of the water tribe. I mean, it wasn't until like season 1, like in the end of season 1, where they finally made it to the South Pole. But yeah, or the Air Temple there. Yeah, they were at a few Air Temples and stuff like that. But yeah. So I mean, like, yeah, obviously Zuko, like, oh, like a water bender or somebody from the water tribe, all the way out here. Clearly, yeah, like, yeah,
island, he's focused on the Avatar, and they're fighting and running. And I hardly think he's taken note of the necklace that's.
What's happening, Mal? Welcome to the stream. Just chilling, talking about some Avatar for a bit, and then I'm about to get into the Superman stuff. I don't really have a whole lot of other stuff to say about the Superman stuff because I kind of got everything out in the video, but we'll see what we can do. You probably say Azula and Katara have much more power, and say it's feminist agenda. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know who? Yeah, yeah. He definitely would probably say that. Um, I'm not gonna lie, the females are strong in Avatar, but I just feel like going onwards, if they're going to continue with Avatar, they need to focus now on the men, in my opinion. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I actually do love Legends of Korra. I know a lot of people don't like it. I think Legends of Korra is actually pretty cool, but I think it's probably a much more better, safer bet now to just go back to just focusing on the strong male characters and stuff, or you know what I mean? Like, because they definitely have a lot inside Avatar. But let me get back to this.
To recognize her. And if anyone complains that he's not caring because he didn't give her back the necklace, well, of course not. She's still his enemy, bros.
There's nothing more to really read that much into it. Like, oh, I see you're just trying to find your girlfriend. She's not my girlfriend. She is the bold monk kid that she's with that I really want to get. Pause. Yeah, but it's nothing. Right? She was like, "Oh, I see you got back together with your girlfriend," and then Zuko Katara is like, "He's not my girlfriend, or he's not my boyfriend, whatever." It ain't like that.
Yeah. And also, love the care that Katara is placed on the inner part of the saddle to prevent her from slipping off with her back.
I mean, I guess he didn't want her to fall. I mean, it's a gentleman thing to do, I guess. I don't know. I mean, Zuko ain't like, again, he ain't a bad guy like that. I mean, he was, but he wasn't like that bad. Or
I thought I would point it out because I'm obsessed with minute details. Again, not important, but now you know. From there, we have the twosome meet again in the north. And that we have some action prowess is that Zuko and Katara stand as equals. And though the confrontation was short, didn't last long at all, any chance to see the character chemistry grow is so much fun. Plus, you have Zuko's iconic "You right."
Zaxby's just dropped new lemon pepper. Cracked black pepper flavor you love on the chicken you love. Lemon
Aside from a few.
pepper fans. This one's for you.
Yeah, so far so good. I hated Legends of Korra, aside from a few scenes. Yeah, it has some definitely like a lot of good moments. I mean, don't get me wrong, the series wasn't it definitely wasn't perfect, but I mean, if you were to ask me, I would say like, all right, Legends of Korra has 4 seasons. I think season one was good. Yeah, I know some people say it's a little slow, but I think season one was honestly really good. Season two, that's definitely where, and I know I talked about that before. That's where things started to go a little bit more downhill, where a lot of people were really turned off by like, especially by Korra's personality and stuff, how she was portrayed in that season. Then in season three, I think that was definitely a good return back to like form. And season four, I thought was okay. So yeah, but it wasn't definitely not a perfect show though. Legends of Korra's fire. I mean, taking June's ironic remarks as I don't know why I said remarks. Remarks as something important is valuable, as thinking she would eventually actually get in a relationship with Iroh, for example. That reminds me
To
like
treat
how like yeah, I was thinking about this a while back too, or a couple of weeks ago, like how Iroh was so down bad for June and stuff. He was like you like remember we were like when they were like falling and stuff because the mole or whatever like has this like when it strikes you with the tongue or whatever it paralyzes you, and then Zuko was like he got hit by it and June got hit by it and I was like June no and then he fell and then Zuko was like Uncle I didn't see you get hit by the tongue. He's like shh. Just like a cuddle with June. That was hilarious. Man, I will.
because you not only get lore between
Rocco, man, that's a
firebenders and waterbenders, but you also have like a cute little character dichotomy. Katara finding Zuko and the gang rescuing Aang and bro. Katara's lick back was so satisfying. Again, they're enemies, but it keeps the duo on equal footing, even if Zuko got his ass handed to him, justifiably so. I know some people can argue that Katara didn't even like him at this point because she was willing to leave Zuko behind.
This might be interesting, but no, I want to highlight it. There we go. But no Korra villains were anywhere near as great as Azula. Kavira was close, but her, Baraik ruined it with throwing her tragic past of an orphan, which was completely useless. I mean, Kavira was okay. Um, and no, I definitely disagree with that. I mean, honestly, if you ask me, I think the best villains inside Avatar in general is probably Amon and Zahir, and I definitely love Zahir. He was oh my god, that guy was a villain. Well, they're all villains, but I'm like Jesus, these people were evil. Like they put the E in evil. But anyways, Kavira. I mean, in case you don't remember who Kavira is or her backstory, yeah, she was sort of like an orphan or whatever, and she was taken in by the Beifong family and all that stuff by Su Yin Beifong, the youngest daughter, and stuff. Or she was kind of like yeah, and then she become like an elite guard. She was engaged to their oldest son and all that stuff, and etc. Then you know how that turned out with the Red Lotus and yeah.
All I can say to that is duh. They're enemies just because it's fun to see them interacting with each other.
I like how he's like evil, but he's also a good philosopher and stuff too, and all that stuff, and the whole like tethered thing and stuff, and how he was saying like the flying and stuff, how he was able to achieve it was that he had to let go of his attachment, his earthly attachments and stuff. So no personal connections, no love or anything like that. He's just like, wow, that was pretty cool. And he looked
As much as we
as long
loves Zuko's character.
Like
He's the war and needs his whole solo arc to find himself and rest. Let's be fucking for real here. Canon Zutara into making a masterpiece. As it stands now, there's much work to be done. So we continue. Season 2 gives us a wider view of Avatar: The Last and the deep character study into our main characters, Zuko and Katara, the intense brainwashing. It was heartening to see Katara
all right, I am back. Let's see what this is. Amon's plan made no sense aside from the pathetic daddy issues. Origin, equalist ideology makes no sense since bending was crucial for people's lives in the past. Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, what they were saying with the whole equalist thing was that, like, basically, like, how non benders feel kind of like, inferior and stuff to other benders and stuff, or they're not as, like, significant, or they don't have a voice. That's why, like, after season one, like, Korra helped establish President Raiko and stuff as being, like, that said voice for the non benders and stuff, where he has a position of power and stuff that just representing all nations and stuff, where you have these powerful figures like Zuko, or Zuko's daughter, who's the Fire Lord, Azumi, or Tenzin and stuff, or Lin Beifong, who is the chief of Republic City Police, as like a metal bender and an earth bender and all that stuff, etc. You get the idea. Anyways, but you can also say that Amon was also like he might have believed in it. Maybe he hated being a water bender, and he wanted to get rid of other people's bending, or he was just using it to kind of like elevate himself basically. But regardless, he was still a very intimidating and a good villain at that. And he was like OP. Like this man was not only just a bender, but he was also a chi blocker too, which a lot of people don't know. So yeah, pretty crazy stuff. Yeah, kind of don't want another Avatar series. They should have learned, I'll leave it alone. But if they want to reboot, focus on the male character. Agreed. I know me and USJ, we disagree on a lot of stuff, but I definitely agree on that. I like Avatar, and look, when it comes to a lot of stuff, there are things that I'm just like, well, in a way, you always could continue it if you just, I don't know, maybe do it in a different kind of way or something, or try something a little bit different. But Avatar, yeah, I do personally feel that way too. I'm just like, at this point, just leave it alone, or just give us a male character, because that new Avatar series that they're talking about, they're like, oh yeah, it's gonna be like this female disabled girl and stuff, and I'm just like, uh, why didn't you just give us a male Avatar this time, or whatever? And I like Korra, and I don't want like Korra to like like all those characters and stuff, especially the last Airbender characters and stuff, like them to pass on, but regardless, I'm just like, man, but still, yeah, just yeah, I would have loved a male character and stuff too. I definitely would have loved that. If that's what they're going to go for next, because we need a little bit of some male empowerment for once. But it was established non-benders. Hang on, mostly built Republic City, and the only benders we saw there were either criminals or poor guys like Mako and Bolin. Baraik accidentally made benders feel oppressed. Okay. I mean, like, look, people are gonna like protest or demand other type of stuff. It's a different type of outlook and stuff, or just looking into things that, like, oh, okay, that's probably something I never thought of, but it could kind of make sense though. let's hear this out.
That no.
Because, well, I mean, you can also say that maybe Katara and the others were starting to see a little bit of the good in Zuko, because obviously he cares about Iroh, his uncle and stuff. So, yeah.
They can't interact civilly just yet. However, this also shows that Katara doesn't really hate Zuko because of that other enemy. When we finally get Katara and Zuko stuck in a room together, and Zuko endears himself to Katara's empathy over dead mothers taken by the Fire Nation, these two characters
Say he might have something like a standalone in this one, but I mean, that's just more so like, well, they have a lot in common in some ways, apart from just coming from opposing nations and stuff, you know? Like, obviously, like, they both know what it's like to lose their mom and stuff like that. Even though Zuko's mom was actually revealed to be alive, but for a while he thought that, you know, she was dead and stuff, you know, or he grew up without her and everything. And then, you know, Katara's mom was killed by a firebender. So she has a lot of resentment against the Fire Nation for that. And, you know, she projected a part of that on Zuko too, up until like the third season and stuff when she finally resolved that. But yeah. I mean, and yeah, they were definitely getting close in season two in this scene with where because originally Zuko was supposed to change in season two, um, but they kind of decided, you know what, let's do this. Let's have Zuko actually team up with Azula, and he betrays Iroh and everything. And yeah, yeah, that's what they did. Favorite did instead, but still, I'm glad at least everybody can agree that Unalaq definitely the worst Avatar villain. Season two should have been just about Water Tribe Civil War instead of just creating one Rava and Vatu. I disagree with that. Unalaq isn't my per se favorite villain or anything. He's all right, but I mean, it was pretty obvious. Yeah, he's a villain, or you know what I mean. Like it's not like oh, huge plot twist or anything, but he was all right. He ain't like my favorite per se. My favorite would be like Zahir and Amon, but yeah, Unalaq he was all right. Just yeah, like he's just that generic kind of like think of it like kind of like Scar from like Lion King, you know, like that's exactly like Unalaq, that evil uncle type character and stuff. That like, oh, you know, the main character's got like a dad or something like that, and they got like an evil brother that was out for power. Yeah, that's basically Unalaq. So it's not like, you know, like clearly. I did like Korra bending the metal out of her body. Yeah, yeah, that was a cool scene when she lost her avatar state. Yeah, yeah. So she definitely got some cool moments. I mean, I don't hate Korra as a character. I'm like, yeah, Korra, she got it and stuff. I mean, definitely there are some things that I would probably change about her character though, or things that they could probably make her a little bit more likable. But she's definitely got some very solid moments.
communicate with each other and open up. So throwing them in a room together and having them interact was such
And
a
not
moment
every
because
thing
it was,
between
as
like
I
a male and
suspect,
a female always has to be a romantic thing. You know, it can also be like, oh, well, you know, just I don't know, building up to like maybe a friendship or, um, oh, they're like acquaintances or whatever. I don't know, just all that type of stuff.
did the potential Zutara had us all Sarah and Zuko's intimacy even moments ago was
I wouldn't
convinced
say
Zuko was
entirely.
evil incarnate. Like she was literally ranting, telling this man that he was just the most evil thing ever. And then like this
That'd
boy
be a
brings
boy.
out, you guys, guys, come on.
Well, it's just a human thing that they both can just relate to. You know what I mean? Like that they just like yeah, like because Katara has like everyone else in the Fire Nation, but then when you know he reveals, yeah, I lost my mom too, and stuff like that. Katara's like, oh, I guess we both have that in common, or we understand each other's pain and stuff. But yeah, Although Zuko probably has it just terrible because, like, God, Zuko's entire family, man, is just oof. It's entire, but with the yikes. All right, I am back. Let's see. I definitely got a lot more commenting on. Mods, yeah, but establish. Yeah, I kind of don't want to. Oh yeah, I already read that. Let's see this. I read that. I did like. Yeah, I've said that. This one. All right. Unalaq made Korra look as dumb as possible just because she chose to trust him because everyone else were done with her trauma tantrums. Season two definitely had Korra at worse. It did, but the thing was the reason why Korra was willing to work with Unalaq, and it wasn't because Unalaq gave her any reason to not trust her. I mean, apart from like yeah, like her dad and her uncle don't have the best relationship, and Korra doesn't have the best relationship with her cousins either. But the thing is, like, because Unalaq, the thing is, he knew how to stop the dark spirits and stuff, and he was more of a spiritual leader than anyone that they had known at the time. So, what else are you going to do to stop, evil spirits? Because I mean, Tenzin tried, that didn't work. Tongrok tried, that's Korra's dad. He couldn't stop the evil, like the dark spirits. Korra tried, even in the Avatar state, and she still couldn't beat the dark spirits. But yet Unalaq could with his own spirit bending and stuff. So yeah, Korra had to learn that from him in some way. So yeah, she easily fell in for his whole trap and all that stuff. Blah blah blah. Yeah. So I mean, it happens, but yeah. But I feel like a lot of people are too like caught up on that, even though they don't really realize that. Yeah, Korra just had to learn that from him, though. She couldn't like there was no other spiritual leader at the time that they knew. Like Tenzin said he was, but he wasn't like really like Tenzin never was like spiritually awakened like that. Anyways, Korra and Asami absolutely didn't need to happen forced LGBT at the time. Yeah, originally, I'm not gonna lie to you, I would have probably been like, well, Korra Asami is not half bad. I still don't think it's half bad, but yeah, that's definitely one of the things I probably would have changed too about Korra because it's just like yeah, that kind of it sort of did come out of nowhere. I can kind of come up with some like I can rationalize it at least with season three and season four, but yeah, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it is kind of just to kind of appease shippers and stuff. So yeah, definitely. Korra and Asami is equally as bad as Katara and Zuko to me. Handful of moments, won't convince after a tendous love triangle. Poor Bolin. I don't know if Bolin was ever in the cards. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I used to kind of like it a little bit back in season one, but they kind of just dropped it after season one. For Korra and Asami though, I mean, I would say that they definitely had some moments in season three where they were kind of like, that's probably when I think they decided to kind of go with that because they were slowly kind of building it up with them kind of spending a lot more quality time together. Which I mean, granted, that can just be with a friend and stuff too. Of course, like training together, teaching each other. Well, Asami was teaching Korra how to drive and stuff like that. Um, Trying to make each other laugh and stuff, etc. Being able to like fight together and all that, etc. And then I would think between season three, like yeah, I'm super like like that too. Ah man, what was Mal saying? Thoughts on Korra cutting off her past lives? Hmm. I mean, it's not really her fault, but I get it though. Why a lot of people are mad about that because Unalaq was the one that severed her connection from the past lives and stuff. So Korra's not able to come in contact with her like past lives, like with Aang and all them. to kind of give her any kind of wisdom or advice and stuff. Which I know we used to love that kind of thing back with like Aang with Kyoshi or Roku or Avatar Young Chin or um, Avatar Kuroku and all of them. Like yeah, it was always cool. So I'm pretty sure us as like definitely like growing up with the Last Airbender and stuff, we would have loved to kind of see like Aang and relationship. So that was kind of like dang. So yeah, but anyways, but I think they're trying to emphasize that like as an avatar, you have to just make your own path and stuff. It absolutely was forced on that ruined the show ending to appease LGBT. Mm. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna completely disagree with that though. Nolan is the most likable of the team. Outside of moments, the show turned him into a pathetic joke. At least he wasn't the biggest cardboard in the Avatar universe like Mako. Yeah, we still got a lot of disagreements on that. Ashes. Bolin, I wouldn't say was turned into a joke. Yeah, Bolin, I would honestly say he's been through a lot of like character, like a lot of jobs and stuff like that. Okay, I'm back. I saw something thing on. Bolin. I mean, Bolin went from like season one with the whole pro bending thing to season two when he became a mover star. Then the third season, he was helping Korra out and all that stuff. Then season four, he was helping out Kovira originally before she ended up turning on him. But I think definitely like I wouldn't say he's a joke. I mean, come on, the dude mastered lava bending. Like that's pretty impressive. And Mako was okay. I mean, he did his job as a detective and stuff, and he was actually pretty like on point. Honestly, I defend Mako more so than I do about Korra when it came to like that whole relationship stuff because I'm like, I mean, Mako was more so on the right and just felt like Korra was just randomly like bringing up stuff that was like, yeah, Tenzin was cool. They should have utilized him more. Being Aang's son, he should have been spiritual. You know what? Yeah, he probably should have. Um, Tenzin was definitely really good. I don't think you can ever go wrong with that character, especially in like season two. If I had to say, if anything in season two, like I know a lot of people have problems with it, whether it be the Avatar One stuff or Korra, but I think Tenzin was like probably the most standout character inside season two when he had those like filler moments with his family and stuff. I think that was a lot of good genuine stuff between him being you know a son or a brother or being a dad and stuff. Like I think that was all like really good stuff right there. But yeah, I like Korra's character to the end and overall series. I didn't care for it compared to Avatar. Though, like I like the tone, but meh, I wouldn't revisit it willingly. Dang. But yeah, true. I definitely do want to get it on DVD to someday though. Oh well, I had thoughts about it, but I think I'm definitely going to get that, and probably the video game too, because I've talked about how like people actually like the video game a lot compared to any other Avatar like video game. I wish the show gave Tenzin more time for development. Honestly, Kaya and Bumi were ultimately useless to the plot, and making Bumi an airbender was insulting. I disagree with that. I don't know why you think Bumi being an airbender would be insulting, but okay. And then Kaya, because Kai and Bumi and Tenzin, the three of them are all, of course, the children of Aang and Katara. So yeah, and Kaya, obviously, she takes the name from Katara's mom, her grandma, or technically originally that was what Katara was going to be called, which was Kaya, and obviously Bumi is a homage to obviously King Bumi, who is Aang's friend. So yeah, I wouldn't really say like, oh, they were useless or anything. No. I wouldn't buy it, but that's just me. I mean, it's not really much. It's like a good $14, $15 or so, at least like for the whole box set. Oh wait, I need a screen share. Sokka dying off screen. Ooh, SSJ, yeah. Let me talk about that real quick before I get back to the video. Sokka dying off screen was lame. I know he got the flashback, but still, I wouldn't say it was lame, but it does kind of hurt though. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. That kind of does hurt because out of like the main cast, like of course, Aang died. Sokka did live. He did outlive Aang and stuff because he helped save Korra from the Red Lotus. But after that, Sokka had like passed away, probably due to like natural causes or something. And then all that's left is Zuko, Toph, and Katara. But yeah, I kind of was like, man. And I always wanted to see if Sokka and Suki ever got together or not. Did they ever have kids? Like, is there any kind of like confirmation to that? Like, you know what I mean? But I don't know. We'll just leave that to our imagination. Okay, let's continue with the Zutara roasting. Yeah, that's what I'm about to get to.
The conversation
We're
they
halfway through it.
had just showed that there was something there that elevated them
Yeah, because
to touch him. Specific, it's like
former
Zuko.
antagonist turned like kind of deuteragonist. Actually, yeah, he is the deuteragonist.
What's running through your mind here? Come on, buddy. Let us know. And if you think this moment was one-sided, let me give you Qatar's meanest grudge until well into season 3 when they finally go on their own.
Sorry, it's Bob. All right, I am coming back. Yeah, it's lame. He's one of the OG favorites. He died off screen. The only ones alive was Zuko and the old ladies, Toph and Katara. Yeah, I know, man. I'm like, yeah, I know. Trust me, I know. I'm like, oh, man. I mean, at least you got to give him this, though. I mean, Zuko at least has a couple of statues. I mean, not Zuko. Sokka has a couple of statues in his name. Like, he has one in, I think, Republic City, because Sokka used to be the councilman back in Republic City back when, like, they were in their 40s and all that. And then later on, he has, I think, a statue in the Southern Water Tribe because for a while, Sokka was the chief of the Southern Water Tribe before he passed it down to Korra's dad, Tonraq. So, yeah. Let me get back to this.
You would not out Aang, who she threatened death to Zuko over, leave with Zuko alone for days at a time.
And he can take care of himself and all that stuff, and they all had to come to an agreement. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, if any harm would come of like of Aang and Sokka, oh yeah, Katara would definitely try to live up to her threat to Zuko and stuff. About we know that in the past you've had trouble making the right decision or not, because yeah, you know the first thing when like Sokka was like, "Man, what is your deal?" And I mean, not Sokka. Why am I getting Sokka and Zuko mixed up? Zuko. Zuko was like, "Man, what is your deal?" And then she's like, "What's my deal?" I mean, my deal is I was the first one out of everybody to trust you, and you backstabbed me. Remember? You said you changed. I did change.
He also disappeared for
Sorry, yeah, I don't really talk about Avatar too much, but yeah, I am pretty knowledgeable about this stuff because you know we all grew up watching Avatar. Like, yeah, because yeah, I grew up in the 2000s and Avatar was definitely around. I think I got into Avatar around like season two, really. The beginning of like around the beginning of season two, and then you know like over time, you know, you see the reruns and stuff like that and all that, and then of course I saw the new episodes as they were coming out, all the way up until like the finale, then Legends of Korra, and yeah, you get the idea.
just forbidden them from going alone. And like, so, oh, come on, guys. Do you see what I'm trying to get at? And alone with him. Like, you see what I'm trying to say here? So this bitterness, as we later find out, was really just the betrayal Katara felt over trusting him first and him turning on her in such a way that they nearly lost the Avatar. Because after Zuko gets in good with everybody, Katara is left realizing that she is the lone hater when it comes to Zuko's acceptance. Once upon a time, she was the first to welcome him. Zuko's gotta make it up to Katara. And the best way to do that, giving her what she thinks she wants. Justice. What I love about the Southern Raiders is that Zuko lets Katara take the reins and really trusts her judge. Doesn't believe what
he didn't care. He was kind of cool whatever Katara did because, to be honest, she was definitely within her rights to kill her mom's killer, but she chose not to, and Zuko respected that. Yeah, there's not much to talk about since the series ended, but yeah, yeah, I know. There's not really, yeah, and that's another thing too. Like why I can't really like follow it as much is like, yeah, I mean the series is kind of over. I mean, it is continued through the comics, of course, but even then, it's kind of like, well, yeah. And then of course, you know, novelizations, but it's kind of like, God, I read that Kyoshi novel. It wasn't half bad, but it was like, oh my God, that it wasn't Shadow of Kyoshi, it was Rise of Kyoshi, that first one. Like, and I mean, I know Shadow of Kyoshi's long too, but good God, those books were so long. I was like, all right, I'm good after this.
he thinks should be done. He simply supports her physically and morally. It really feels like both characters are on equal footing here, and Zuko acknowledging you, remember this is platonic right now, is palpable and just so wholesome. It's the perfect building block for anything more. I especially love how Katara was not amused with Aang's one-sided view of her actions and comes to forgive Zuko instead, which really shows the maturity both of these characters have grown into. You know, her beef with Aang aside in that moment.
It's just that, and Aang was in Aang, as we all know, Aang is a pacifist, so obviously he has this whole moral code against killing and stuff like that. Even though there's probably some contradictions there, because before that, like in season two or like one and two, like people like to point out, like the whole him being like in the Avatar state merged with the ocean spirit, he was like tearing down Fire Nation soldiers and stuff, and the ships and everything and stuff like that. Oh my God! And then you know some of the like animals and stuff or whatever he might have like taken out when or those little what was it, the little wasp crocodile things or whatever from the when they went to the library and stuff like that, the little spiritual library, and they kidnapped Appa, or no, or almost took Momo. Yeah, remember? Yeah, yeah, Aang was taking out some of those things, but regardless though of the contradiction, Aang is still a pacifist in the end of the day, and he's just like, just like, yeah, revenge and stuff like that, getting even. It doesn't really help, And Katara kind of realized that, even though, yeah, of course, she would never forgive her mom's killer, and rightfully so. No one can ever forgive somebody for doing something like that. It's still kind of like, yeah, but yeah, getting revenge isn't going to make me feel better, Mo. And that she was finally able to let go and finally was able to forgive Zuko for, like, her hostility and stuff.
Then the last 4 episodes of this series exhibits the most
This is why you don't fight sirens!
Come on, skip that.
intense bonding between Zuko and Katara known to man. Like, they're literally practically at each other's hips, just talking and enjoying each other's company as they train, look for Iroh, and eventually fight Azula. They're constantly next to each other, and again, this bee over here makes girlfriend jokes about Katara to Zuko. The writers make constant references, and the reason I was able to get my hopes up was because making Aang and Zutara estranged from an endgame couple while making Zutara closer. It's a weird way.
I mean, well, you don't make them. You don't make them. Great. Okay, I think I'm back now. All right, let me read some of these comments. Yet people say Aang doesn't understand Katara, despite him always supporting her retrieving the necklace. No, oh yeah, yeah, he did do that. How important it is to her, blaming himself for her burning. Yeah, even though that was Aang's fault on that last one, but still. Yeah. Do you think Buffalo Butt would have issues with Aang being a pacifist? Probably. I mean, I don't know. You know your boy. Always tries to find all types of ways to make I don't know, nothing into a complete problem. He like, I think Aang would have. I think he should have killed Fire Lord Ozai. I think that would have been a much better. I can't do a nerd culture impression right now, but anyways, let me get back to this. I was kind of making fun of that play thing, that play episode, because that was hilarious. I thought you were the Avatar's girl, and then Aang's like, "Yeah, that's right. She's my girl." Yeah, man, that is hilarious. Like,
A choice to do whatever instead of being pressured to answer to a demand she isn't even sure she wanted, despite numerous
again, like she always felt the same about. They had the war and stuff to worry about first, and Katara wanted to kind of at least resolve that first before moving on into something else. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how I'm going to randomly bring up, because she already talked about Naruto and stuff. I'm going to talk about the Sasuke and Sakura thing, where like, and I know a lot of people don't really get it at this point with the whole Sasuke Sakura thing, but Sasuke had reached a milestone by the end of Shippuden where he no longer has the desire to notice Sakura and stuff like that, and notice that she's always been somebody that stuck up for him and everything. So once they move past all that war stuff, that's when, oh, okay, that's an appropriate time. And that was the same thing with Katara, where she's not, she has a little bit some unresolved feelings with Aang, but at least after the war and stuff, and they were able to like put everything behind them and stuff. That's when she was like, yeah, oh yeah, he would have complained about Aang being too small. Oh yeah, he probably would have, even though he was frozen at the age of 12. Yeah, and that actually played. Actually, no, he would probably also complain too about how Aang died too, because that's him being frozen in the Avatar state for 100 years. Also had a that's also how Aang actually died inside Avatar, or in the series, or you know what I mean, because like yeah, it put a lot of strain on his body and stuff because being in the Avatar state for 100 years and frozen in ice wasn't a good combination for Aang. So his body ended up succumbing when he was like 66. So that's what happened. I mean, that's still a pretty long life though, but still, people often forget that Katara got into Aang. Oh yeah, that too. Yeah, the Cave of Two Lovers. She suggested to kiss him. Doubt the girl would try that if treating her best friend like a little brother of or a son. Yeah, that's kind of weird, like a son. But
To say
Katara is a little bit of a she's like an older sister or like a motherly type of character in the group and stuff to like not just Aang but Aang, Sokka, Toph a little bit, like Sokka's like, well, like I'm the man in here and I'm like and blah blah blah. And the girls, they're just good at stuff like sewing and stuff. Sokka, I stitched up your pants, so I guess you don't want me to finish. He's like, well, hold on, Katara, hold on. Aang dying makes sense, but it kind of sucks. It felt like a little lazy way to get rid of him for the next Avatar. I got over it though. I do get it. Yeah, yeah. I would say like if to kind of not create division, yeah, maybe Legends of Korra shouldn't have happened. I don't mind it though because I do like Legends of Korra, but yeah. But I guess that's like, oh well, they had to, I guess, somehow maybe address that. I don't know, but yeah, they never explained it in the show, but that is actually how Aang did die, though, because of yeah.
otherwise. I know many don't believe it, but Zuko and Katara, they temper, understand, and support the other emotionally, morally, and physically without pressure, belittling or dismissing the other's concerns or imposing their own moral beliefs. There's, now say it with me now, potential for their friendship to deepen and for anything romantic. Like we've seen before, Tara to act the mother figure to Zuko. Like she's not picking up after him or coddling his feelings. She stands.
Well, I mean, mainly because they were mostly moral enemies from like season 1 and 2, or they, because in season 2, Zuko is mostly either by himself or with Iroh and stuff, and they were mostly, being hunted by the Fire Nation. Right there, along with Aang and the others. So yeah, and then season 3. I mean, yeah, yeah, but I mean, it's just like yeah, it's kind of like yeah, just an awkward kind of like friendship thing.
As his equal. Like she tells him straight up exactly what she is thinking on her, basically, and he just treats her as like, again, I can't reiterate
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean though, SSJ. I don't mind Korra happened and they needed another avatar. But to die that young sucks, I think. Yeah, yeah, I know. Like at 66, it's like, well, yeah. I should have give us a couple episodes of him as an adult between after they had their kids and then flash forward. Yeah, I wouldn't have mind that, honestly, if they had focused on them just being adults and stuff. Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, because to make a quick little comparison with like Star Wars and stuff, you know how like the sequel trilogy, we all know it's trash. Okay, I'm not gonna like yeah, but I'm just saying though, like with the sequel trilogy, the problem with that was that it undermined everything that happened before with the original trilogy. Like basically, like all that stuff that Luke had accomplished in the original trilogy, like stopping. Let's just go straight forward to stopping the Death Star and stopping Palpatine. All that is kind of pointless by the time in like the sequel trilogy because they built a bigger, badder weapon that can destroy multiple planets, and then a lot of the character development is undone. Like Han Solo, he's back to being a mercenary. General's back. I mean, Leia's back to being a general or whatever. Luke uh, is now some exiled hermit kind of guy that's broken and all that. Yeah, at least they didn't do that with the Avatar characters. Like they at least accomplished things, and did stuff. So yeah, yeah, or moved on with their lives and stuff like that, or had children and all that other stuff. So yeah, I definitely would have loved to see them like grown up and them, with their kids and stuff like that. That would have been cool. Or, in my personal opinion, I think would have been a more interesting idea is instead of like focusing on like an avatar character, just focus on like maybe just a bender character, like a fire bender or water bender or earth bender or something. Or since Korra brought back the air benders and stuff, you could have fiddled around with that idea. But it doesn't have to necessarily be like an avatar. It could just be somebody from a blank period of time that they could just follow. I think that would be probably pretty cool. But that's just me.
Great, this enough. He just treats her as just an equal, like he always has, even when they were enemies. He carries his own weight, respects her, even if she doesn't at first for him because of his past actions, which again, she is justified to feel because even Zuko admits his past actions are not it. Zuko allows Katara to be herself, whether that's her.
Yeah, I agree. I may just buy some of those comics. I know I just had it up right now. Those comics that take place before the series ending. Yeah, I know. I mean, me personally, I need to kind of read some of them. I mean, they're not bad. It's kind of like hit or miss and stuff, to be honest. But yeah, but it's not like perfect either. It's all right. And even the Legends of Korra comics, in my opinion, I think are kind of like hit or miss. Like they're not half bad either. I'm actually a lot more interested in that Suki comic though, because I know Suki had like a comic for like a little bit. So I'm like, oh man, that's actually kind of cool.
Her sweet, empathetic side, or even her prickly, pretty boisterous side that's just ready to cut a bitch that some other character.
Just saying. Show me a move. Korra's more disrespectful trash than the sequel trilogy. Oh yeah, completely disagree. At least trilogy didn't end up leaving us on a coming apocalypse. Like, it's a good thing Korra giving of her duties so hilariously bad. I mean, to be honest though, we don't even know the context of what created the apocalypse. Like, for all we know, Korra could have got blamed for the apocalypse or whatever. Or who knows? Maybe it's probably just like an idea or something like that. But I don't even know yet. But the sequels, no, that completely undid a lot of the characterization and stuff in favor of trying to uplift Ray and stuff. Korra's never done anything where she's undermined Aang. If anything, Korra's always tried to she's always looked up to Aang or always tried to at least be as good as her predecessors and stuff. Ray, she was always kind of made to be like, oh, well, she's automatically better, even though she's hardly had any training though. I know I've been talking for a minute. Sorry. Let me get back to the video. I'm almost done with this.
Zuko and Katara just work. And I'm not even talking about the complementary imagery and symbolism both characters have with water, fire, moon, sun, blue, red, etc., which is also true. So in conclusion, Zutara is the superior love story. No questions. Crushing arguments
I disagree with that. I mean, Katara and Aang was always set up from inception, and you know what I mean. Like, of course, Zuko and Aang. I mean, God damn it, I'm stupid. I said Zuko and Aang, Katara and Aang. Jesus, my memory on Avatar is getting foggy. Katara and Aang have traveled with each other. Obviously, they've had moments and stuff with each other and everything until eventually, the finale, and then they get together and all that stuff.
Zutara. Exactly what the title card says. I'm going to address some anti-Zutara arguments here that I think are asinine, purposefully obtuse, and just plain stupid. First being...
I don't fully disagree with Ashes. However, of course, mid in 2020s, would we still like her in her show? I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad because that was like back in like what 2013, 2014 and stuff. That was before they started getting too crazy and stuff. That was like until like the 2016s and stuff like that, where they started to get really out of control with that feminist agenda and all that stuff. But yeah, of course, like nowadays, and they give her that kind of writing, it would probably be on par with like if you guys seen that show She-Ra and the Princess of Power, or like yeah, SSJ, like Devil May Cry with Lady and stuff. Yeah, it would be exactly almost like that. But Korra isn't nearly as bad. I think, yeah, she's all right, but I don't think like, she's ever done anything specifically to outright disrespect Aang and stuff. But yeah, Ray on the other hand, definitely has with Luke or Han and stuff where she knows how to do this, even though she's never had this training before, or she's never like flown a ship before, but all of a sudden she's just that good or whatever, or she's like, yeah, I don't know, but yeah, that doesn't make any sense. But Korra, she's at least interacted with Zuko, Katara, Toph, Aang, and at least had pretty good solid moments with them. Ooh, yeah, Kevin Smith.
I ordered 200. Built a Wix website to sell them. I'm Noah Rosen, founder and owner of Forged to Table Knives. Starting as a dishwasher and working my way up through the culinary industry, I knew a lot of people that would love an affordable handcrafted knife. I saw the opportunity and built my own online empire. When someone first gets to ForgeTable.com, we want them to have a curated shopping experience with Wix. The detail
stuff. He was not an asshole dad. That's a misconception, because I remember you were saying in the community tab about like how we have different takes from like how you don't like Lady Score, and I do. But Aang wasn't an asshole dad though, because we don't know what kind of parent Aang was growing up. We just know that Bumi and Kaya, their qualm with Aang was that he just didn't spend a lot of quality time with them like he did with Tenzin, because him and Tenzin were like training and they spent time traveling around the world trying to learn airbending and all that stuff. But that doesn't make them like, because if you haven't noticed, like with Kaya and Bumi, they still admire Aang a lot, and Aang definitely does care about them. But anyways, what did SSG say right here? Or Kevin Smith, yeah, with He-Man. Oh yeah, where he killed off He-Man in the first episode to hype up She-Girl or whatever. Yeah, to hype up Man in Arms, you mean?
You guys only like Zuko for Katara because he's a bad boy.
First of all, Zuko is not a bad boy. He may have done bad boy things, but he later deeply regrets his past actions and who he was. Zuko, as a person, is someone deeply flawed that's learned to understand what he did was wrong, and he has since demonstrated a willingness to change and do better for not just himself, but for the benefit of everyone else. This is very much unlike Jet, who is very much a bad boy in pretty much every sense of the word until the very last bit where he actually redeems himself. But he's still considered a bad boy. Again, Zuko may have done bad boy things, but he's not an actual bad boy. Like, don't get me wrong, he gives the impression of an edgy teen, but he's just that, a teen. And sometimes those teens learn the hard way.
Zutara is an oppressor/oppressed ship. Ew!
I'm sorry, what? In what world should individuals be held responsible for the reprehensible actions of a non-elected or even elected government body? Like, please tell me that. In what world should individuals be responsible for the reprehensible actions of a non-elected or even elected government body? Like, the actions of the Fire Nation have nothing to do with Zuko or who he should end up with. Like, step off and touch grass, please. Because if we're following that insane logic, Zuko is not allowed to be paired with Sokka either. Sorry, Zuka shippers, I don't make the rules. Or anyone pretty much in the remaining Earth or Water nations. So again, sorry, actions in Village is justified because they're from an oppressor nation. So Sokka and Katara saving those people would have been in the wrong. They're the bad guys. Hama and Jet's actions.
Back to the video. Yeah.
Are, you know, the epitome of everything that is good and saintly. Do you see what I'm saying here? Just say you don't like Zutara as a ship and just leave it at that.
Katara hated Zuko!
Let me copy.
Like I said, I mean, it's not a bad ship, but it just wasn't never in the cards, or that was never like really set up to ever happen. But yeah. I mean, the take isn't wrong. Many people ship Zutara just because they self-insert themselves onto Katara. Let's not forget that Katara is still the most disliked gang member in the fandom. I wouldn't say the most disliked. I mean, she's okay. I mean, well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, yeah, she like, I mean, you know, because you got Aang, who's the protagonist, you got Toph, who's like the cool one, and you got Sokka, who's kind of like, you know, jack of all trades. Like Sokka, he's like, oh, the funny guy and stuff like that of the group. So yeah, it was a bad ship. I don't think it's bad, but it's just like, well, if you're definitely talking about like if season 3 never happened, oh yeah, it's definitely bad. But I'm just saying, yeah, I just can't see that happening like at all. Just yeah, they're just better left as good friends because not every like you know interaction between a guy and a girl always has to be like, oh, it's romantic. Like no.
Paste my earlier words because it feels very appropriate here. If Katara truly hated Zuko, as many claim, she would not allow Aang, who she threatened death to Zuko over, leave with Zuko alone for days.
That's kind of a counter argument to your point that she cares more about Aang than she does with Zuko.
At a time. Same goes for Sokka. Katara would not have allowed Aang or her only other family member to leave with Zuko if she truly hated him. She either would have gone with them or just forbidden them from going alone. Now, don't get me wrong, Katara was definitely bitter and petty and was a definite hater during that portion of when Zuko first joined, which she is, again, entirely justified in feeling. But had she truly hated him, Katara would not have forgiven Zuko after the Southern Raiders field trip. In the end, we learned that all of it stemmed from the betrayal Katara felt over Zuko's actions, which nearly costed the world. Like, she was truly impacted by his actions. Like, she was affected. Like, that girl was triggered that it took a while for her to forgive. But once she did, she was all friendly, all empathetic, and supportive of Zuko. Like, literally became one of his cheerleaders and partner in crime against Azula.
I feel bad for Mai and all of this, all the amount of disrespect. Zutarian, I'm guessing you mean Zutara, give her as both the character and love interest is seriously insulting. Yeah, Mai was definitely Zuko's girl. Although personally myself, I kind of like the if you guys remember that filler episode from Avatar where they were doing like the Tales of Bossing Say or whatever. I think that girl that Zuko was dating and stuff, I think she was probably like, yeah. Because they broke up Zuko and Mai in the comics, and I was kind of like, dang. Well, that kind of undermines the ending a little. Like, yeah, at least that ending or that moment that they shared, or like when Mai was like, you know, saying that she loves Zuko more than she fears Azula, which is a pretty powerful moment. But yeah, so
it's sweet that people think Zuko, especially Katara. Do you know what I admire about Zutara? It's the fact that this is a ship that allows for both Katara and Zuko to fix themselves. They don't need anyone fighting their own battles. Zuko was able to find his own path. He had some help from Iroh, sure, but that boy found the light on his own the hard way. The same for Katara. She doesn't need no man to fix things for her. She can handle it, and Zuko recognizes that. That's what I love about Zutara. Both characters are able to express their agency and independence while still coming together to support and improve the other should the other ask for it. So this entire argument, fucking stupid.
You're just projecting / self-inserting yourself onto Katara so you can end up with Zuko.
Holy shit. Where do I start with this?
Oh, seriously. They brought them back together, though. I like the story where Maya became a teacher. Oh, wow, really? And grew warmer towards people thanks to bonding with kids. That's pretty nice. Yeah, like I said, it kind of is like, well, that was random drama to like just randomly break them up.
I think this argument out of all of them is one of the most insulting that I've ever heard, because not only does it demean the obviously female demographic and reduce their enjoyment, reading comprehension, and capability to like a couple as nothing more than a self-deluded fantasy because we're horny, simple-minded losers who can't see characters as their own persons. Because we need Katara as some sort of vehicle to justify, because apparently we need Katara as a vehicle instead of just reading ex-reader fanfictions. Like, fuck off. What a misogynistic take. And even if some people do project, it's harmless. Like, let them enjoy.
First Ariana, now this chick. Yeah, I mean, granted, SSJ, you know Haryana is much worse. I mean, it's just that this girl, she just, honestly, I just think she just has some bad takes, honestly. But Haryana, like, good God, that girl, to me, I'm like, and I don't like to always play this card, but I'm like, oh, she's a racist. Like, she's a racist, man. Or yeah, it's been a while since I checked out her channel, but I'm pretty sure because she always just puts up something that is just so stupid and outlandish. I'm just like, you just can't help but just like, what is wrong with you, girl?
Enjoy shit, because self-projecting can easily be any character, not Dante. Creators of Avatar: The Last Airbender have clearly self-projected themselves onto Aang, which is why they wanted him to even end up with Katara in the first place. Like, are we forgetting that?
Stuff. I mean, in some kind of capacity, like characters sometimes have they take inspiration from like like the writers might like insert a little bit of themselves into it. It doesn't make them directly a self-insert, but they take a portion of like, oh, I can kind of relate to this character on this. So they're like me in some ways. Like take Hirohiko Araki. And I remember speaking about Haryana, she brought this up too when she was talking trash about my boy Mineta, when she was like, Kohei Hirakoshi says his self-insert is Mineta. So that means that he's a perverted and a gross person. And I'm like, shut up. Like, no, shut up. Trust me, we can relate to Mineta in other ways than just him being just a pervert and stuff like that. Like, no, he's a pretty decent character and stuff. Could he be better? Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, yeah. And there's a lot more to his character than just staring up girls' skirts and stuff like that, or his little childish antics. And plus, Mineta's not even the worst anime pervert out there. Like, trust me. This if you've seen anime, there are definitely a lot of worse anime perverts out there that have done worse, and yeah.
Crucial thing. That shit heats me so much, especially because these grown-ass adults got so petty and insulted teenage fans over liking like something so harmless. Seriously, these grown-ass adults got so petty and insulted teenage fans who dared mention that they like Zutara and publicly mocked them for something.
I mean, I don't know who is a teenager in this day and age now that had grew up watching Avatar. Because I mean, most of us like that have watched Avatar and probably even Legends of Korra at this point, most of us are kind of grown adults at this point. Like, yeah, I'm just saying, like, yeah, like Avatar hasn't, I mean, unless you're talking about like the Netflix stuff, I guess, or whatever, which that's kind of more recent. But I mean, no one's really talking about the Netflix Avatar though. Which I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I low key kind of forgot. Like I keep forgetting. Oh yeah, that's right. They do have a Netflix. Yeah, yeah. I remember her video critiquing Boy Meets World and Teen Titans. I'm quite familiar with her. The personnel and the reaction seems similar. Well, I might sound a little bit sexist like that for saying this, but probably because she's a woman. But no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, granted, I will say, I mean, she at least seems a little bit smarter than Ariana, and I mean, she just has bad takes in my opinion, but not nearly as bad as Ariana. Ariana is like, oof, like she is twice as worse. Off the topic, my fellow YouTuber finally started the 2012 TMNT series. It's only 8 episodes. 2012 Splinter is already his favorite depiction of the character. Yeah, yeah, one of the things I liked about the 2012 series was like, especially with Splinter, was like how in the first couple of episodes there's always like a flashback sequence or him just passing along some wisdom to the characters and stuff to like whether it be Donatello, Raphael, Leonardo, Michelangelo, etc. Like those are all some very solid moments that made that version of Splinter like the best.
So fucking harmless. Let's not play the double standard game because your faves can easily get your.
No. I'm like maybe Paul and Hariano will probably hook up or something. They seem like each other's type. Nah, that ain't gonna happen. I'm just kidding. That is so weird, bro. I'm sorry. I don't know why. I came up with that.
Get the fuck out of my face. Seriously, I can make a
God,
whole
no.
separate.
Can you imagine if they did like a collab?
But again, that's a video for another time because I need to reel myself back in. So this video has gone on long enough. And notice how I didn't do too much shit talking towards Aang or my what Herculean strength, Day. But yeah, this is my defense and explanation for why Zutara is just the superior love story and still stands the test of time. Thank you for sticking around. This is my art for this video, which will get posted on my daydaydoes.com website. I apologize for going ghost these last few months. I didn't mean to disappear, but man, did that seasonal depression and other factors kind of just had me.
And Paul got together. Bro, I'm pretty sure you can't even reach this keyboard. Honestly, I was surprised nobody called Katang. Pedophilia yet, considering Son Amy is claimed to be despite having similar age gaps. I mean, well, granted, I have seen people, and it's just out of like, I don't know, humor. I guess they like, oh, here's an overage man that's like 112 years old kissing this underage 14. Yeah, you've seen the jokes, but I mean, yeah, I mean, it's not, and yeah, and then for Sonic and Amy, I mean, granted, Sonic and Amy are at least 2.5 years apart from each other usually, so yeah. He only dates white chicks, claims to be pro-black, but wants to date a snow bunny. Oh, well, I can't blame him. But I'm just kidding. But yeah, he does talk a big game about being pro-black, but then, yeah, has the worst to say about black people, though. Katara and Aang were a very different age, and plus, he's older than her chronologically, but physically younger. Yeah, I mean, physically, physically and mentally, Aang is 12 and Katara is 14. So it's only like a 2-year really age difference. Really, but yeah. It's not that bad. I mean, because they got together by the end of the series, and this is just my personal opinion. I think Aang is 13 by the end of the series, and that sounds. You know what? Now that I say that out loud, that's kind of also pretty weird, but that's still a 2-year age. That's still a 2-year age difference. That is not that bad, half bad. Okay. And then obviously in the comics, time, like there's a lot of time skips and stuff. And Aang is like at least 16, I think, by the time in in one of the stories and stuff, or 14. So that would make Katara like 16 or 18. So yeah. So the moral of the story is Mike and Brian definitely made a great move trolling Zutara fanboys during the 2008 Comic Con. Yeah, like I said, I mean that's what I'm saying. Like they joked about it, but they never like. I'm pretty sure they were never committed with that, and that's probably how they should have been with Korosami though, like low key. To be honest, than just you know, but yeah, but it is what it is. 13. I know. You got me right there. You caught me in a contradiction. That is messed up. I know. I know. But still, I mean, that's a 2 year age difference. That's still a 2 year age difference.
Me
right
escaping to Game of Thrones and fan fiction land so heavily. That job of mine is for the birds. Like, I just cannot do customer service facing roles anymore. I can't.
I'm not gonna lie though, she can definitely draw. She is definitely a pretty good digital artist. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I would say a good compromise to her little Zutara ship, honestly, is American Dragon, and it's the same thing with Danny Phantom. Which honestly, you know what, in Danny Phantom, yeah, Danny definitely should have ended up with Valerie over Sam. Valerie was definitely a more interesting character and definitely had more stuff going than Sam, to be honest. So yeah, but I think a good compromise is definitely American Dragon, where you have Jake Long and you remember his girlfriend Rose. She was a part of the Hunters and stuff and all that. Um, yeah, and ironically, they're like, and the reason I also bring it up is because Dante Bosco, he voices Zuko, and he voices Jake, and then Mae Whiteman, she voices Katara, and she also voices Rose from American Dragon as well. So I'm like, well, yeah, there you go, Zutara right there. Man, I loved American Dragon and Jake Long. Yeah, yeah, that was a good show. Yeah, man, that was really cool. My friend, yeah, that's like one of his favorite cartoons growing up. But yeah, American Dragon. But yeah, I know it's been but I'm still gonna keep this live stream going though. I'm gonna talk real quick about this Mortal Kombat trailer, and then we could probably get into some Superman stuff. So we're definitely gonna keep this party going. Yep, those voice actors were on the same show. Yeah, you know what's even crazier to me is that I found out that what's that guy's name? Greg Sipes and I think her name was like what, Karen Ashley or something. The girl that voices I'm gonna just say she voices Gwen. Oh my god, they've voiced so many characters together, or not together, but that have become each other's like love interests in several different shows. That is wild. Yep, those voice actors are on the same show. Yeah, yeah. We all know Iroh and the T is the best ship in the Avatar universe. There's no point in debates. Yep, it's probably Iroh and that ticket lady or whatever. But yeah, but let me show off some Mortal Kombat. I guess I'm gonna Greg Sipes is Beast Boy, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, yeah, he's Beast Boy as well. He was Beast Boy, Michelangelo, Kevin Levin, etc. Like he's Zero even from Super Hyper Force. Super, what I'm still gonna say, Super Hyper Robot Monkey Team, Hyper Force Go. Yeah, all that stuff. But I'm about to screen share that Mortal Kombat trailer and share a few of my thoughts. Mortal Kombat. Yeah, that's her name. Yeah, they've voiced a lot of relation, like characters that are in relation.
Uno mas, thanks.
You're Johnny Cage.
I'm not gonna lie though, he does not sound like Johnny Cage, man. I mean, if he can at least pull off because the thing is with Mortal Kombat, well, I'm gonna just say this. I guess I never really talked about my thoughts about that first Mortal Kombat movie that came out a couple of years ago. I think it was 2021. Yeah, definitely not the best Mortal Kombat movie. Let's just say that. Which ironically, I think two Mortal Kombat movies came out that year, back in 2021. Which, you know what? Now that I realize that, that's been 4 years. It took them 4 years to finally make a sequel. But yeah, Carl Urban. I hate Carl Urban's casting as Johnny Cage. I can't get behind that at all. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I had to see it in performance, but yeah, I agree, SSJ. I'm not really a huge fan of myself about the casting because it's like that's weird. Like you need to cast somebody that's a martial artist and stuff. And Johnny Cage in Mortal Kombat and nine around the first Mortal Kombat or like 32 or something. Well, he was in his late 20s at best, you know. So that's how Johnny Cage should be. But they're kind of like, oh, he's this washed up actor that was like from the 90s and stuff. So if he's from the 90s, I'm going like, let's just say, okay, well, he was maybe in his 20s or so. That would mean that he's in his 50s currently, right? At best. And he's like in this Mortal Kombat fighting tournament and all that stuff. And it's kind of like, yeah, but yeah. But let me get started with this. What did you think about the scientists cloning dinosaurs, giant ground sloths, woolly mammoths, and other extinct animals back to life? Interesting. Um, that's all I can really say. I don't really have much of an in-depth opinion about it.
I'm Citizen Cage when I was a kid.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
They should do.
Shit went out in the 90s. Johnny Cage. You have been
I'm so
right.
I'm like because this guy that was playing Raiden, I'm sorry, he was not a good Raiden back in that first Mortal Kombat movie from 2021. First off, um, if I'm not mistaken, I think he was a little bit short too because Raiden's supposed to be like a lot more taller than that. Especially in the games because if you guys don't know, like Raiden's like 7 feet tall, but obviously you're not gonna cast a 7 feet tall man. At least somebody that's like 6 feet or something like that, you know. But this guy, I'm just like they went with his Mortal Kombat 2 look, and I'm like, you could have at least gone with his like I don't know Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance look or something, where he had like the cape and he kind of looked more like yeah, this kind of looks like okay, well, he just literally came right out the classic video games and stuff where they had to like water down the designs because they couldn't like animate too much stuff on it. Like Cabal, like for example, Cabal was supposed to have a jacket in Mortal Kombat 3, but they had to like take it out because well, they couldn't animate it well until the 3D era. He's old British and looks well, like he doesn't want to be there. He's Billy Butcher, not Johnny Cage. Yeah, I know. Like honestly, if you're gonna like get like somebody that's like a Johnny Cage, you need somebody that can really like you need to focus on like martial arts, not just like just guys that are like yeah. I mean, he's a good actor, but he's not. I'm like Johnny Cage. I'm like no, but I don't know. We'll see what they have to do. Do you think Netflix would actually make a good Zutara canon just to shut up? No, I don't. I don't think they're ever going to put that much focus on Zutara like that.
Tell me you're not some crazy fans.
How are you doing that?
I'm not gonna lie. I did forget. Sorry. In the first
Where
video,
the hell am
right?
I?
It's called Mortal Kombat. To the death.
Bad.
I mean, but I get it. It's Mortal Kombat 2, so let it be.
This is a war for the fate of your world.
You dickheads in or what?
They brought back Kano because Kano was the star of the show from the first movie. So yeah, so I'm pretty sure they're going to fiddle around with this idea of like Netherrealm and the afterlife and all that stuff as they usually do, and then bring Kano back that way, like Kratos style.
I'm not.
I don't know why they. I don't know why they made Jade bald because I'm like I've never seen Jade bald in a Mortal Kombat game before. Not even inside Mortal Kombat 11 where they gave her a terrible design. I'm like I've never seen Jade bald before. I mean, don't get me wrong, the actress look great, but why they make her bald, I don't know. Like that is so random. Like you couldn't at least given her like hair or something. Like her hair is supposed to be usually braided or something, you know. But that's
Champion. If I don't have transformer arms,
exactly.
or shoot lightning bolts, this shit's got
Okay.
nothing to do with me.
You annoying.
Not the face.
I think to be honest, not really. No one.
You can run, but you can't hop forever, ever.
It's time.
Sindel.
To become the hero you were meant to be.
A little bit nitpicky, but I kind of wished he would have said, "It's time to get caged" or something like that. Then it's showtime, you know. But that's just me. What else was I gonna say? Yeah. But it's kind of weird that they're not really using like Johnny Cage's powers because you know Johnny Cage, he comes from a warrior cult. As far as his like ancestry goes, that has magic that can like take down gods and stuff like that. Or that's a good counter to take down gods. That's how Johnny Cage was able to defeat Shinnok back inside MKX. And technically, if you really want to go all the way back, even Mortal Kombat Armageddon and stuff. So yeah, so like that green energy and stuff, that's kind of like Johnny Cage's like ancestral power. But yeah, they should have used them from the get-go from that first movie instead of this made-up character Cole Young, which I mean is nothing against the actor and stuff, but it's just like because I know he wanted to do bigger stuff, but it's kind of like yeah, but did they really have to make up another character called Cole Young that's a washed-up mixed martial arts fighter that's like got this family and you're inserting him in on Scorpion and Sub Zero's feud? Like none of that makes any sense. Let me see some of this. They gave Jade alopecia. Yeah, they gave her that GI Jane treatment. The only bald chicks in Mortal Kombat should be Devora and Kronika. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I was thinking Devora when I saw the top of her head. I mean, it's not that bad, but it's just like yeah, because Devora, she got like her head. Her head is kind of shaped like a walnut or like a grenade. Like yeah, man. Yeah, no. And Jade's definitely had a lot of good designs too. So it's like, so why'd you make her bald? I don't know. Like it might have been the actress's personal choice or something. I guess I don't know. Maybe to differentiate her from Katana, but yeah, because Carl Urban can't pull off those phrases off, they'll probably have him act out a cult and off to himself like a butcher. Probably like yeah, they kind of already got him as like this washed up actor and stuff. I'm like, no, he's supposed to be like it's Johnny Gage. He's a little bit more you know, than that. I mean, a little bit more chipper and obviously wittier too. But you know, Cole Young was unnecessary and destroyed Mortal Kombat 1, making him related to Scorpion. Man, that is trash. Yeah, that was dumb. I wouldn't say that was alone destroyed Mortal Kombat 1. There was plenty of things in that movie that was like just so many dumb things that are changes in that first movie. And obviously, this is a sequel to that movie, so it's kind of like, well, I know what to expect from the story, possibly, but I don't know. Maybe you can probably redeem yourselves, but maybe you're just probably going to just give us some cool action, which, okay, fine. That sounds cool in itself, too. But yeah, like it was like a lot of that stuff, like the dragon tattoos. If you remember that, remember how like they were like, oh, well, basically, if you're in Mortal Kombat, you have to have this dragon tattoo that you're born with or whatever. And I'm like, that's never been a thing in Mortal Kombat. Special powers, and I'm like, that's not how Mortal Kombat works at all. Like, what about because like how Liu Kang's abilities work is, you know, his chi or whatever, Or for Jax, you know, his metal arms, like that's not a superpower. That's just like, oh, you know, you can crack an egg on Jade's head. Man, you be coming up with all the bold jokes and stuff. I can crush a walnut on Nicholas Holt's face or whatever, or crack a what did you just say? Crack an egg on Jade's head.
Get over here!
Get over here.
Finish him!
Are you shitting me? You don't have any powers?
Just incredibly handsome.
I mean, yeah, like I said, the trailer looked great. I'm not going to take anything away from that. I mean, at least it's around the corner. It's coming out in October, so that's always great. But yeah, so that's Mortal Kombat. All right. So now that I got some of that out of the way, let's see. I still got plenty of stuff that I wanted to talk about, but I'll knock it out the way. I guess we could definitely talk about Superman real quick and my post thoughts. So if you guys have any questions about my stuff on Superman, or if there's any subjects, then feel free to discuss it. There were definitely some things I might have missed or I kind of forgot about or I left out in my review and stuff. So like, because I just remembered, oh yeah, because how I said that, how it's ironic how like no one had, or it's like a freaking cartoonish miracle that I don't know, like somehow everybody survived inside that Superman movie. But I just remembered, oh yeah, Lex did kill that one guy to kind of torture Superman and was like, oh, trying to interrogate him. He got a little revolver and he's like, yeah, it's like playing Russian roulette. He's like, okay, well, the answers you don't tell me, yeah, I kind of forgot about that. So he did kill one person, but still, it's kind of like, okay, like, I mean, that is evil, but that's just like okay. But yeah, what I don't think, yeah, I still don't think that this movie is at all like really like a comic book, because I feel like calling it even a comic book movie, or not. Well, it is a comic book movie, but I don't feel like it's a, it doesn't feel like a comic. I know SSJ earlier, you got into it with Paul about it and stuff about it not being comic book accurate, and you corrected and was like, yeah, I never said it was comic book accurate. I just said it just feels like a comic book and all that stuff. Which yeah, and you definitely are entitled to that. I don't personally. I feel like that's even being a little bit too generous. It's like it's kind of like a borderline parody for me because it just feels like okay, if we want to talk about like comics and stuff, it feels like something that's like very dated. You know what I mean? Like something that goes all the way back to like uh, at least the 1960s or 80s at best. Like that's what the movie really felt like to me. Like it felt like lip service than an actual like comic book movie. Just doesn't feel like based off of like any kind of in particular run or nothing, especially no like nothing in modern day. Um, the movie just feels like yeah, and a lot of people say that it doesn't like it feels like an episode out of like Superman the animated series, and I'm like, not really. It feels honestly like a rendition of like the Christopher Reeves movies because they don't actually use any of the characters from Superman the animated series or that was established in there like Mercy Graves or anything. Which I know that sounds like my nitpick, but I'm just saying because if you're gonna have Lex, then you're gonna need like Mercy or something because she was like his bodyguard and stuff like that. I mean, at least she was in BVS, but still. But in the new Superman movie though, they have Eve Tessmacher and Lex's old sidekick Otis, who they race swapped in this version to be black for whatever reason. And I'm like, yeah, but Eve and Otis weren't like major characters like that inside like in the comics. You know what I mean? They were there in the movies as like Lex's sidekicks, but they weren't really that important in characters. I've even searched up Eve's comic book appearances and she has at least like um maybe like 8 comic book appearances at best, but she's not really a vital character like that though. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm like, yeah, she shouldn't have been that much of an important character. And Otis, I mean, Otis is like just a side character, really, or a side villain, or a side plot, or he's a henchman. That's basically a better word for it. But it's just like, I wouldn't really compare that to Superman the animated series because once they did their own thing, they left those characters completely out. And it wasn't really until like Superman Returns until they came back. But yeah, but I know I've been talking for a minute. Hang on, that CGI though. Yeah, yeah, I did not like the close-ups and all that stuff. Gunn did the. Oh, what's happening, Bright? Gunn did the movie for himself, not for Superman, because why is he creating new things instead of just using characters from his lore? Exactly. Or he's referring to things from the movies because I feel like the only thing he really watched was the movies. And I don't think he actually read the actual comics. That's just my opinion, though, because again, he's pulling from characters from those movies, but not the actual like comics or Superman the animated series. Which the reason why I'm bringing up Superman the animated series so much is because Superman the animated series had established a lot of stuff going onwards for Superman in a more positive kind of way, where you have stuff like, of course, like I said, Mercy Graves. They even created original characters like Livewire and stuff, for the show. Sorry, my voice is getting a little dry. Anyways, yeah, they created Livewire for the show and stuff like that. What else? They also redesigned Lois, where like Lois, because originally Lois was a brunette, but Superman the animated series made Lois's hair like they made it black, and she has like purple eyes, so they end up transferring that look into the comics and stuff. And how she like nicknames him Smallville and stuff. That's also another detail, which also made its way into Smallville the show, where Lois would call him Smallville, and it also kind of became a thing in the comics too. But yeah, what about all the people that he killed when he did the laser spin? The laser spin. Oh, you're talking about Superman. No, no, I'm talking about Lex. Like Lex only killed like one guy, but the laser spin thing, I don't know. Have you ever seen Avatar, the official season 3 comic after about Portion? Basically, it had like the hippies return and give the gang alcohol, which almost make Angus Guard go wild on each other. I vaguely kind of remember it, but it's been probably a while. Oh no, that might be a fan comic. Probably not. No, it does feel like a comic book in the sense of where it starts off during a battle. He's been fighting for 3 weeks. The areas like Daily Planet and the Justice Building and the Fortress of Solitude. Yeah, I'll give you that because I actually did like the Hall of Justice though. That was pretty nice. Yeah. So yeah, definitely that is true. That's what I mean. It feels like that. That's just my opinion. I'm not only the one who thinks so either. Yeah, I'm not saying it's just you. I'm just saying like I'm just like that's being a little bit generous. Like as far as like how the movie feels. But yeah, you got a point there with the Hall of Justice and stuff and the Daily Planet. But I'm just like, this doesn't like if I pick up a Superman comic right now, I'm just like, and I watch James Gunn's movie, I'm like, yeah, there's a night and day difference. I picked up All Star Superman and see some of the comparisons, but of course he added his flair to it. It's not like Superman the animated series. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And there's like this shot, like, and look, Superman. I mean, All Star Superman. I know a lot of people like the storyline, or it's not really much of a storyline. It's really just or even a story arc. It's just its own thing. Or it's an okay story, but it's not like exactly a good representation of Superman like that. Just mostly a modern take on his Silver Age stories and stuff into one. But yeah, yeah, I read it online not too long ago and stuff. But yeah, but a lot of people really overhyped that and stuff, especially in like I think when they did that little Superman Day thing, and everybody was like, "Oh yeah, my favorite storyline is All Star Superman." It's kind of like okay, it's getting a little bit over glorified at this point because there's other Superman storylines out there than just that. But that's just me though, SSJ. But yeah, yeah. What else? But stupid Paul pulls things out of nowhere. He doesn't read comics. Yeah, I know he doesn't. We do, however, he but yeah, yeah, yeah. So, anyways, Yeah, so I'm like, it's not exactly All Star Superman is not exactly the standard. And if you look at some of the like costumes outside of like Superman's and stuff, like when you look at like, oh, what his villains be wearing and stuff like that, I'm like, God, this is so goofy and so like 1950s, and this isn't even like the peak era of Superman, like that, or 1960s or something. But yeah, but yeah, Gunn took inspiration like the robots and stuff like that, or some of the designs, I guess. But yeah. No, it's the official book. Even Sokka started thinking strange about Toph wishing Suki and Yue were with them. Toph had a crush on one guy. Oh, okay. Yeah, I might have vaguely have saw it then, because I used to read like Avatar years ago and stuff, just because I wanted to know what happened, after the last Airbender series and stuff like that. So yeah, but yeah, that's just how I feel about the movie. Let's see. And I do feel like this is also a weird but missed opportunity, or not even a missed opportunity, but this is also like this is probably going to hurt James Gunn later on down the line, because he said that James Gunn said that he wanted to do Damian Wayne, Robin, and I'm like, so you're going to do Damian Wayne Robin, and you're doing an early Superman, but you're not going to include like, I don't know, John Kent, which, if you know, John Kent is supposed to be like Damian's best friend and stuff, and they have a run together called Super Sons. So I'm like, that probably would have been perfect if you actually had like, oh, Lois and Clark together and stuff. And I know that's kind of like rushing into things already since this is a first movie, but you can probably just start it off like that, like they're already married or together or something like that. Kind of like, let's say Reed Richards and Mr. I said Reed Richards and Mr. Panther. Kind of like Reed Richards and Sue Storm, where they're already also kind of just married in most versions or some versions and stuff, and you can just start a story like that from there. Or they got kids and stuff like in Multiverse of Madness. I don't think people would have too much of a problem with that, but yeah. But I mean, but you could have already had John Kent born, and then if you were going to introduce Damien, because they're relatively the same age. Let's see. People need to seriously let the Reese soups go because it's doing more harm than good. Yeah, it is. They definitely need to let it go because really that's their only understanding about it. At least people that were born from like, let's say the 80s to like, well, downwards and stuff. That's their only like perception about Superman. And for everyone that's born like at least like in the 90s and up, usually, yeah, a lot of us are like, yeah, we didn't grow up with that Christopher Reeve Superman, or we're not really interested because they didn't really put too much time and effort like that into Superman as far as like giving us more of like, well, apart from maybe Smallville and Superman the animated series and stuff, and then Man of Steel and all that, but that would be our like generational stuff. I'm not saying it's perfect. Yeah, yeah, I'm not saying it's a perfect comic, but it's you're talking about All Star Superman, my bad. But it's fairly decent for a recent series. But James Gunn won't 100% make it accurate, but he will pull as much as he can to make it goofy. Yeah, he will definitely, and it's kind of like, yeah, but we don't really need goofy stuff though. It's kind of like that's kind of like a burden on like superhero stuff nowadays, is because things are getting a little bit too goofy or whatever. Like take the Arrowverse for example. I know SSJ, you're a huge fan of the Arrowverse and stuff, and the Arrowverse was like really peak back in like the first couple of seasons and stuff, like with Arrow and the Flash, and well, in my personal opinion, I kind of like the first two seasons of Supergirl too, and first two seasons of Legend of Tomorrow. But once they got past those like first two seasons or that threshold and started getting much more goofier down the line, oh yeah, that was kind of like, man, this is just getting weird, or this is like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I would have been more perfect if DC finally did some justice to Batman Beyond. Yeah, I would love to see Batman Beyond, honestly. It's been quite a while. I mean, I know they have some comic book runs of Batman Beyond here and there, but yeah, man, I loved Arrow and The Flash season 1 and 2. Yeah, yeah, it was really good. But yeah, so That's all I have to say there, really. But yeah, like I said, Lex did kill one guy, so that's something that I left out or I forgot to mention in my video. Then, yeah, I just feel like it's more of a like a rendition or pulls from like well, yeah, All Star Superman and also the movies and stuff more so than actual comics or any other Superman material and stuff like that. Um, yeah, not much I can really add on that one, but yeah. And on top of that, speaking of which, that reminds me, I remember seeing a shot of like James Gunn, Rachel Brosnahan, and David Cornsmith. They're all like just sitting together reading Superman comics, and there's like, if you notice, there's like the Action Comics, the 1940s one or 1930s one, and All Star Superman is like, really, you guys aren't going to read anything from like, I don't know, the 80s, the 90s, 2000s, none of that stuff where you had a lot more artists and writers put in a lot more effort and a lot more time, like really fleshing out Superman around those times. But yeah, Batman Beyond should have been on Legends of Tomorrow for real. That would have been cool too. I definitely would have loved if he was on Legends because I kind of dropped off after season two. Because I mean, season two was okay in my opinion with the Damian Dark and Reverse Flash teaming up, but I was kind of like, all right, I'm out with Legends of Tomorrow. I'm like, yeah, I just didn't have much of a reason to come back after that. But yeah. But anyways, those are just some of my post thoughts about Superman. But if you guys have any more questions, I'm definitely will feel free to answer it. But let's see. Let's talk about, and this is going to be my thumbnail too. This is definitely going to be my thumbnail for this live stream. Hang on, let me share the screen. Excuse me. Yep, there it is. Legends is only good in season 1 and 2. It was garbage all the way through. Yeah, so I heard. Yeah, so I heard. What do you think about Beware the Batman? Um, wow, pretty mid. I think it was all right for spending some spare time. I love Beware the Batman. It's very underrated. I recommend. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've watched that show Beware the Batman, but I'll rewatch it someday. That actually reminds me to tell you guys I've actually just started rewatching X-Men Evolution and Spider-Man Unlimited today, so that was pretty fun. Before I started this live stream, but yeah, Boruto. I'm gonna just show off some of this stuff real quick. This won't be long, but just a quick little explanation. But a lot of stuff is going down in Boruto, where you got like Boruto and Kawaki finally teaming up. Kawaki's finally quite a fight against Juro and stuff after like Boruto kind of embarrassed him earlier. But yeah, just went a little bit too far. This is a pretty cool design of Kawaki right here. Yeah, I know it's a little bit late. Kawaki on his Ishiki Onosuke stuff right here with the drinking cubes and all that. And of course, they got these fights like Dragon Ball Z and all that. And then this is probably leading to one of my favorite parts where Jura is like, I've been searching up, is the topic I'm currently passionately researching, the thing called love. And then Kawaki is trying to put on his best poker face and is like, I don't care what you're talking about. You talk a lot for a pest, and then he does this like blast and all that stuff. It's pretty cool. And then Jura shows up and is like, let me try to like read this from the top. So he's like, don't blow your fuse so quickly, Kawaki. I just want to chat with you. I mean, I never expected you to come to Boruto's rescue, for as far as I know. there's only one thing in the world that you want to protect, and that's supposed to be Uzumaki Naruto. A while ago, I went to Konoha seeking him and was shocked to learn that he had passed away. But now, looking into your sincere eyes, I'm convinced Uzumaki Naruto, he's alive, isn't he? So I'm right. You're easy to read. I'm not good at lying either. And I know this will likely get under your skin, but I want to consume Uzumaki Naruto. And then you got Kawaki right here. I heard that he shared a deep bond with Mini Biju, and perhaps love had something to do with that as well. I can't help thinking that. I'm hoping that I might learn more about love if I devour him. And then Kawaki's like, damn you. And then Boruto shows up to teleport him away. Sorry about the wait. We're good now. I got a lock on the symbol. You're flying Raijin. I take it. I loathe as a parting, but so be it. I suppose we're done for today. And then Boruto's like, let's go, Kawaki. He's like, give me a second. Hey, Juro, listen up. I don't really give a crap about love, but I will give your credit for your instincts and intuition in setting your eyes on Lord Seventh. Don't misunderstand, though. You will die by my hand, I swear it. Amusing. I appreciate you being frank with me. Now I'm done. Let's go. And he's like, Kawaki, I'm glad we had this talk. Let us meet again. And then Kawaki flicks him off. I was like, bro, that is some attitude right there. That is hilarious. I was like, bro. And then Kawaki just disrespects Konohamaru and steps on his face accidentally because they teleport in front of him. So, yeah. And then Sasuke's clone, Hidori, like, he roasts his Juro too, and he's like, oh, yeah, there's this modern phrase I just learned that might be appropriate for this to use right now. Oh, what is it? Totally ick. Then Jerry got this reaction, man. I just thought that was a little funny. But anyways, but yeah. So Boruto and stuff. I actually like Juro though. He's actually becoming a cool villain. I'm not a huge fan of his design per se, but he started to definitely grow on me, especially that part where he showed up at the library to buy some books or whatever, and he pulled out all that stacks of money and was like, I think this should be sufficient. And he could have just stole the books or whatever. Nah, this man just showed up, uh, non-passive aggressively or whatever, put out a lot of money and just gave it to them. I'd be like, yeah, I'm taking these books for research, and here's enough to cover it, and whatever change you can have, just. So that was pretty cool. Kind of reminds me of like some Yoshikage Kira type stuff. Man, I forgot Killer Croc was even in that show. I remember Two Face was in there, but they never showed Two Face face though. I was like, wow, that is like in the ending and stuff. I used many Batman's other rogues like Professor Pig, Killer Croc, and I remember when Professor Pig was like really like that back in like those 2010s though, like where they were trying to like when they just kind of sort of made him. But yeah, Magpie, yeah, that's a character too. Which Magpie is actually the villain that Superman and Batman both have faced together when they first met. X-Men Evolution is peak. 90s show is a legend too, but Evolution is the best X-Men show in my opinion. I won't disagree with that. I do think, I'm not gonna lie to you though, X-Men Evolution is better than the 90s X-Men. For me, it's between X-Men Evolution and Wolverine and the X-Men. I think those two are probably the best X-Men cartoons. I'm going to check out Fist of the North Star. Nice. Yeah, it's a really good anime, man. Two-Face would have been in season 2, but it was canceled because I thought it was cool, though. Yeah, she definitely was pretty cool. All right, so let's see. What else have I talked about? Yeah, I guess I will. I mean, I still got a little bit more that I'll probably show you guys, and then I'm gonna probably sign out because it's getting late. But yeah, hang on. I'm gonna leave my thing real quick. I like Wolverine and the X-Men more than Evolution, but I did grow up with Evolution. I was like in 3rd grade when it came out. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember like X-Men Evolution was probably my first X-Men cartoon that I grew up with. It was between the movies and the X-Men Evolution cartoon that got me like, oh, about X-Men and stuff. Hang on, I'll be right back. Oh well, I'll probably just do this another time. Or do that another time then, because I was gonna try and see if I can like log off of this and then just re-sign up on my phone or whatever. But I don't know. Maybe another time. I was gonna talk about these. Too bad we were robbed of seeing X-Men, oof, and Earth's Mightiest Heroes. They were planning to have an episode. Yeah, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Wolverine and the X-Men. I'm not even talking to my mic. Wolverine and the X-Men is actually in the same universe as Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes and stuff. It was done by Christopher Yost as well, so it's part of like the Yost verse and all that. But, yeah. All right, let's see. All right, I got my stuff. Let's see what I want to cover first. Wolverine and the X Men is actually the same universe as Hulk versus Wolverine. Yeah, I know it's a part of that too. Like they're all connected, a part of the same universe. Like Hulk versus Wolverine, I think takes place before Wolverine and the X Men. Then it's Wolverine and the X Men, and then Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes is also a part of that as well, and all that. But yeah, and then there's also Thor versus Hulk as well. But yeah, I guess I'll show you what stuff that I've been reading since why not? So let me activate my camera. All right, been reading Dark Stalkers. Yep, recently this had just came out and all that. Hang on. It's the same Hulk design. Bruce actor and Bruce actors. Hulk even comes back to fight Logan in the episode. Yeah. I remember. Yeah, I definitely remember that episode where him and Hulk had fought in that, or they were fighting those Wendigos and stuff. That they were fighting those Wendigos and stuff in that episode. Yeah, I remember. definitely a good episode. That was the first time, yeah. Then but yeah, Darkstalkers though. Um, man, I really want them to do a Darkstalkers like I don't know. They got to do something like a little bit more like Capcom, in my opinion, have to do a lot more with Darkstalkers because this is a Darkstalkers. The comic that I showed you guys is a Darkstalkers and Street Fighter crossover and stuff comic that they're doing and stuff, which is a continuation of that last comic or whatever they just had. So I'm like, man, they need to do something with the Darkstalkers, in my opinion. Anyway, let me stop sharing the screen. And give myself the spotlight. There we go. But anyways, yeah, because I'm just like, man, the Darkstalkers, man, that's like yeah, and I'm just like, they got such like good designs and stuff. I just wish that they would have like, if Capcom were going to find a way to do something with the Darkstalkers, they got to put them in like a Street Fighter video game or something like that, a part of like additional rosters and stuff. But that's just my opinion. You definitely don't want Netflix to do an adaptation. An adaptation. Yeah, probably not. Wendigos are skinny to the bone in real life. They don't have muscles. Yeah, like Wendigos, if I'm not mistaken, because I was kind of looking up the creature because I'm trying to do a comic and stuff, and I was like thinking about utilizing Wendigos and stuff, and I was like, looking up the lore and all that. Obviously, my thing is going to derail a little bit from that, but Wendigos, they are known for like being gluttonous and they're malicious spirits and stuff like that like to like eat a lot, especially like I think they're like part cannibals and stuff like that too. Do you think that people massively don't understand Guru's teachings about Aang's attachment? It wasn't about letting go of Katara. It was about letting go of the fear of her not giving the feelings back. I think it was just letting go about your earthly attachments so that Aang could finally ascend to like becoming the Avatar and stuff. That's just my takeaway from it. Of Darkstalkers, imagine if I don't want that. I don't want that. He's gonna ruin Morgan and especially my girl Felicia, and I don't want them to ruin my girl Felicia at all. Nope, I'm good. I'm good. Anybody can become a Wendigo by resorting to cannibalism. Yeah, that's what they say. Then I'm gonna show you guys what else I've been reading. We're reading some Superboy, and as you can see, I'm wearing a Joker shirt. Yep. This is where Superboy teams up with the Suicide Squad. So you got Deadshot right here. Got some of Superboy's villains like Knockout, King Shark, and then you got Captain Boomerang right here. And this is a continuation of that other comic that I just showed where they're kind of drowning and fighting these so-called silicon dragons. They've been really downplaying Superboy because that's like a character that's really been neglected a lot. Yep. Superboy's ex-girlfriend, his own Lois Lane from that time. Superboy working with Amanda Waller. Hang on, she's not on that page, but she's in this one right here. And then this comic right here. Then I recently have been reading Dragon's Quest. Yep. Good, in celebration of Akira Toriyama and all that stuff. And I know Akira Toriyama didn't exactly like he worked on it or whatever. I think he developed the what's it called? The designs and stuff of the characters and all that. But this Dragon Quest, I was like, to kind of help out with just I don't know, trying to like figure out how to write like stories like maybe isekais or like D&D's type of stuff or whatever, or like stuff dealing with magic. I kind of wanted to like look into like this stuff, and plus I know it's a popular video game as well. So I was like, you know what, this can definitely be pretty cool. So that's why I'm looking into Dragon Quest and stuff. So read that manga. I'm gonna watch the anime, which the anime is online, but there's no subtitles for it, so that kind of sucks. But I'm still gonna just watch it anyways, just because, even though thanks to the manga, I have some context of what's going on. So there's always that. For example, is considering a Wendigo, since the word Wendigo is what you call it, Native American word for cannibal. Nice. There's also a Wenchuge as well, which is like the older cousin of the Wendigo. That's another kind of design that I was thinking about making. Well, in that case, Hero's plan was dumb and critical, aside from edgy anarchy plan for him being lovable Lee, which made no sense if he wanted to go to spiritual enlightenment. Even Brian Konietzko admitted that. Well, not really. I mean, yeah, he was in love with Poli and stuff, but when she died, he was finally able to let go his spiritual attachment to, or his personal attachments to her and everything, which was like the last link he had to be able to unlock his flight ability. And plus, Zahir's main goal wasn't to unlock his flight ability. That was just like a step in, like, oh, okay, his airbending philosophies and stuff. His real goal was to really just create anarchy and chaos and stuff, because again, he's an anarchist. He likes destruction and stuff like that, and he doesn't think that really society should be led by political leaders and stuff. I mean, the guy is evil, so Dahmer is just Dahmer is a pathetic loser like every other serial killer. Oh, I guess you mean Jeffrey Dahmer. I got a lot of '90s comics I need to read. I got a lot of Man of Steel, Run, and Adventures of Superman. Nice. Actually, I was kind of collecting the series. I think I just need the fifth issue. No, the fifth and the what is it? The fourth issue of Man of Steel. I mean, granted, they have the graphic novel, so yeah. Yo, sorry, I just stopped by saying hi. Had a good stream. Hey, what's happening? Fierce empathetic Black Queen Taylor. How you doing tonight? Thanks for dropping by. I appreciate it, even if it's not for long. Still appreciate it though. But Chuge is the, what you call it, the Wendigo cannibal. Native American would consider Jeffrey Dahmer to be Wendigo due to the fact that he consumed flesh of other humans. But yeah, so that's what I've been up to, like reading his stuff lately. Yeah, some Superboy stuff. This is what I got from Comic Con, and then I just bought the Darkstalkers comic recently, and all that. Let me just pull this up. Morgan was trying to flirt with John Talibane, and my girl Felicia was not having it. She was like ready, like claws out and everything, as you can see. I'm like, yes, finally they're putting some respect on my girl Felicia's name, that she is not to be played with, or her man, John Talibane, even if he is a werewolf, which is hilarious. But yeah, so yeah, because in the last issue, even though I liked it, Felicia was kind of like getting shot up by like BB Hood, and I'm just like, oh my god, why they treat my girl like this? Even in the OVA, when she was captured or a damsel and stuff, I was like, oh man, Felicia could do a lot more than just that. That's why I made that animation, and I want to do more animations of like Felicia and stuff, because I think I like the character and stuff. But yep, but it is what it is. But anyways, that's all I have to share for tonight. Kind of wanted to put all that out here. Also, recent games I'm playing is Mega Man X. Yep. I've pretty much beat up all like the Mega Man X 1 through 7. So this has X8 in here, which is the last Mega Man X game I have yet to beat. But just playing it for old time's sake, and also because Mega Man X used to be like, in a way, it's a part of my childhood, so in a way it might be a good source of like my creativity, and stuff where I can get some ideas and all that, especially drawing ideas. So that's also a big thing too. So, anyways, so just stuff that I've been up to lately. But I'm gonna finish up reading some comments. Oh yeah, here's my Batgirl graphic novel as well. Has like a lot of issues of Batgirl in here, as you can see. So I'm glad I got that because it is very hard to find Batgirl issues of Cassandra Cain specifically, not Barbara Gordon. A Wendigo versus a gorilla, who will win the battle? I'll probably say a Wendigo because that's a mythological creature compared to like a gorilla. Been watching Batman versus TMNT. I still have not seen that in quite a while for me. Still don't like how they treated the TMNT universe. Like it can be serious if only put Batman's world. It definitely was made by people who don't know TMNT as 19. I mean, as the the 1987 show. Most likely. I mean, I do wish they'd respected them more. Where okay, they didn't get beat up by Batman just like that. Because I'm just like so we're just gonna disrespect the turtles like that as if they can't just jump Batman or they're not at least on par or equal to. Because even with like the old Green Hornet stuff, you remember like or at least with the Green Hornet and Batman crossover, Bruce Lee did not want to like he was like, okay, I don't want to like lose easily to Batman and Robin, but let's just have us all kind of end up in a draw. And then we got that cool fight scene. Let me actually pull that up just for old time's sake. You know what? Yeah, I'm just gonna bring it up. Hang on. That would be, I guess, a good way to end the stream. Gorillas are very bulky and muscular with strong biceps, wide, buff torsos, and huge round muscle gut. Wow. Wendigos are very skinny bone. Just a guess. Yeah, that tends to happen. Well, hopefully, um, yeah, it doesn't buffer for the last couple more minutes, but yeah. Let me just show this off real quick.
That famous stamp from Egypt, the inverted Blue Nile.
Wonderful!
There's gum in that phony disguise.
The Green Hornet
There's
just came
Bruce
to the
Lee.
surface. It
In
was
that
his food.
mask.
I'm ready.
It's a good thing those guys are on our side, even though they don't know it.
That's how the TMNT Batman fight gets turned out. At least have it like a flaw or something. You know what I mean?
I think those guys are in town every week.
There you go.
Photo finish.
Well, yeah, you're right, SSJ. Only a fool would say, yeah, would make fun of Adam West Batman. I'm like, that show, I mean, yeah, while it is kind of dated, it's still like a really good watch, though. E- Even if it was from the 1960s, but still, it's, yeah, it's a classic for its time, but still really good. Yeah. Showing up. But yeah, but that's how they should have portrayed the Ninja Turtles versus Batman, though, in my opinion. That would have been a lot more preferable for everybody. But it is what it is. 60s Batman is timeless classic. Riddler and Joker were the vibe. Here we go. Especially this crossover. I'm like, man.
In hand. Out that window, boys. We'll come up behind them. Ah, Miss Pinkston, permit me to introduce my... Don't move, Commissioner. Oh, you, Chief. It's gone. Robin, if anyone makes the slightest move, Miss Pinkston will be a dead pink duck. All right, boys, out with the loot.
Batman back then. Very annoying.
Batman can handle it.
Window, Robin, will behind you.
All right, Night Bright. Thanks for dropping by. Appreciate it.
Here's your man.
All right, that's the end of the video. I hope you guys don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This is Jolo Fox, and I'm out. Peace. And I'm just going to leave off on this note because this is going to be the thumbnail for this live stream. Nah, I liked how he was portrayed in Batman vs. Timothy. Folks are mad. He beat them. That Batman felt like an Arkham Batman. Even his size and appearance was similar outside the blue suit. I mean, it's kind of dumb. I mean, because it's like, all right, it's a little bit disrespectful in my opinion to like have them like, because at least you could have it be like a one, like not even a one-sided fight, but have it be like, oh, okay. But nah, I'm like, nah. I've seen the Turtles and their feats and stuff, and I'm like, nah, they should definitely be able to take on Batman too. But anyways, but I appreciate everybody for coming by. This is Joe Low Fox, and I'm out. Peace, and until we meet again. Yep.